And this is a simple project. You don't have to do a ton of work to this, but we do have to adhere to all of the rules that we normally do. And that's scoring and slipping and trying to make things look pretty. Now I'm going to start this little process off. I'm going to use my paintbrush and I'm going to add some water to the outer edge of the bottom. I'm sorry, what would be the connecting point to my base. Okay? No trickery here, just water. I'm trying to find my scoring tool so that I can score now. And I know I'm only going to have to score the outer edge. So I'm only going to have to connect the outer edge. So I'm not going to score the entire bottom. And then I'm going to re-add a little bit of water. And then I'm going to score it again, just to make sure that stuff is nice and soupy. You want it to be kind of thick and chunky. You want the thick and chunky salsa, not that smooth, creamy stuff. Okay? Anything confusing about what I just did right there? Okay? Cool. Now the next part, we are going to take our slab and we're going to get it close. So watch this. I'm just getting it and I'm going to let it sit on top. And I'm going to try and line it up as best I can. Does not have to be perfect because we're going to do a fun thing with this one. And now at this point, I'm going to cut myself a little bit of extra material. So I'm going to leave extra. Okay. So I've got my circle. And again, Ingrid, that was a great question. You can still do this with soft clay. Like this is still really soft. It's barely lost some of its surface moisture. Or water content, whatever you want to call it. Now, we always score and slip. Add a little bit of water to soften it up. And again, what this would look like if you were using the tools that you guys made at home, you would be working with your little gift card scratcher guy. And it essentially ends up being the same thing. All right. So now I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to put a little piece of paper under him so he doesn't get stuck. Because he might. And now, I'm going to introduce some of that water. Scratch. Sorry, I'm off camera. And then we're going to place. But when we place, you're going to leave a little bit of material on the outside. Here's what that means. Get a better angle. I'm going to leave just a hair extra. Just a little bit of extra stuff right here. Okay? And so now we take our slab and we're putting it in place, trying to keep it as accurate as possible. For the entirety of the thing. This also makes it way easier for me to demonstrate. Okay? Cool? And then now, I'm going to give it a little tap to connect. Make sure that I've got a nice layer of adhesion. And I'm going to get rid of a little bit more extra because I accidentally left too much. Not a big deal. Now I'm going to spread this little seam right there. Little bit of water on both edges, and then just like every other project that we've done, this is going to get scored and slipped. Now here's where the fun connecting things happen. This, because we can get into it, and because we're going to leave the edge exposed like this guy, we want it to look like we can see it. It's just the simple act of compressing, and because we have such soft clay and because it's so easy to pinch both sides, we don't have to spend too much time blending that. In fact, I would even like to encourage you guys to leave the edge at least a little bit exposed. I don't know what happened to my needle tool. Use this guy. You want that exposed seam, because that's coolness. All right, but we're not quite done. We have a nice looking cylinder. Now we are going to add the rolled foot. So for this, we flip over, put this right smack dab in the center, and this one's kind of fun. I'll give you it at an angle as well. This little wood tool that you guys got in your kit, the flat one, I'm going to treat it as a paddle. So watch this little action right here. I'm going to gently bevel the upper edge or the bottom edge, and this is going to create that rolled base, foot, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, now all I'm doing is paddling it at an angle. This is further connecting the clay. And it's also giving us another point of interest on our project. Okay, and this is what the rolled foot looks like from the side. Okay, now I'm going to take it because I got a bunch of squeeze out from the slip. I'm going to let that sit right there. You can use your finger to soften this stuff up. If you have a paintbrush, you can use a paintbrush. If you have a sponge or a napkin, paper towel, piece of cloth, that will work as well. Anything really will soften up this edge. Now before we're done, we are going to gently round up those edges. Because, again, glazes don't love corners. They don't love sharp edges. Then I'm going to take my fingers. You can mimic what I'm doing with my plate here, my spinning banding wheel, if you put a piece of cardboard under your thing and then you spin it. But again, this is kind of a, we have a class set at school. Maybe I'll check them out for the second semester. I don't know. It does make life a little bit easier. All right, now we want these to be smooth, so I'm going to clean this guy up right here. And in maybe 15 minutes of work, you have a rolled foot, visible seamed little mini pot. Of course, that bottom inside corner, I'm going to clean that up real quick. And this is going to play, I'm going to have you guys next semester, you guys are going to make mini pitchers or like syrup pitchers. Those are going to be fun. I think you guys are going to like that one. And if you do a good job on the insides of these projects, they're perfectly food safe. So at Easter, when you're having your breakfast waffles, you can put your syrup in the thing, cook them up for hopefully grandma by that time. Mom, dad, whoever you live with. I made that. Mom, I made that. Isn't that so cool? All right, so there's our mini pot with a rolled foot and an exposed seam. Okay, nice and simple. Not a terribly difficult project.